It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. You don't need to terrorize anyone, but you must stop showing your throat. Power belongs to the opaque. The moment you tell the room what you truly want, hands reach quietly for your leash. Smiles widen, prices rise, timelines stretch, and you become a map they can read at leisure. Desire is a trail of breadcrumbs you drop without noticing. Say the words out loud: promotion, commitment, investment, apology, and the air changes. Rivals trace the route and build toll booths. They block the hallway you must take, or sell you a key they printed yesterday. They bait you with almost everything: the almost raise, the almost love, the almost deal. You lean forward, they lean back. Every predictable want is a handle. Someone will grab it. The colder truth: your enemy does not need to be cruel, only patient and observant. You protect yourself by becoming unreadable. Not silent, strategic. You talk in values, not targets. Reliability, quality, fairness, time. You act competent, calm, on time. You move like a steady clock while the spring inside is hidden. People judge what they can see. Give them a clean face, not your inner wiring. Appearance over essence is not hypocrisy, it is armor. A simple mask: moderation in speech, restraint in emotion, consistency in delivery, keeps strangers from learning which button opens your vault. Watch the boardroom. You say, "I need this title," and procurement hears, "We can stall him." Finance hears, "Charge premium, he will pay." Your colleague hears, "Block his path, he's announced it." Now watch the other player. She never says the title or timeline. She speaks in outcomes and standards. Here is the value delivered. Here is the risk removed. She negotiates options, not ultimatums. When the decision comes, she accepts the win with an unreadable half-smile. You wonder how she never seemed thirsty. Switch to the dating app. You type, "I want something serious now." The wrong reader treats it as a manual, provides small signals, then threaten withdrawal. You chase certainty and pay with dignity. Meanwhile, the quiet operator is warm, punctual, and hard to place. Clear in behavior, light in confession, boundaries visible, end game invisible. They do not hide to deceive, they hide to decide. Now the startup pitch. A founder declares, "We must close this round this month." Investors smell the clock, terms harden, valuation dips. The deck becomes a net around the founder's ankles. Across the hall, another founder talks about milestones, not desperation. "We have 3 routes to the runway: revenue, venture debt, or equity. We're here to explore fit." She gathers offers because she is not trapped by one door. Opacity creates options. Options create leverage. Leverage creates respect. You think transparency earns protection. In private life, perhaps. In power games, confession writes the contract against you. The world is full of decent people and full of incentives. Interests drift. Pressure mounts. Even a friend can become a toll booth when your goal is announced and their gate is the only way through. Tell less, test more. Make them show their terms before you reveal your needs. This is not paranoia. It is engineering. Build processes that keep you honest and them curious. Speak broadly. Decide narrowly. Keep 2 or 3 viable paths at all times. Tie deeper disclosure to earned performance. Let silence do some of the talking. It collects information you would have begged for last year. Be generous with grace, stingy with maps. You do not owe the crowd your coordinates. You owe your future your discipline. When you stop broadcasting desire, you stop being bait. When you stop being bait, you start being a choice. Step back from the glass window, dim the light behind you. Let the silhouette be all they get until the work is irreversible. Move in quiet. Be read in results. Confession feels like warmth. In politics, it is leverage. You were trained to believe that honesty is a bridge. Share your wounds, you were told, and people will meet you in the middle. In the city-state of everyday life, offices, dates, family tables, that bridge is a toll road. The one who listens sets the price, and you pay it later. Start with the intimacy trap. Oversharing pretends to be closeness, yet it quietly installs control. The moment you reveal what you fear, to lose your reputation, your promotion, your partner's approval, the other person receives a map to your soft spots. You feel safe because you disclosed, but safety is not created by exposure. It is created by boundaries and options. Picture a first date where you confess how terrified you are of being abandoned. The other person smiles, nods, and files it away. Now, uncertainty becomes the currency of the bond. They can withdraw attention for 12 hours and watch you chase. They can test compatibility by keeping one foot out the door, because your fear has already placed you at a discount. At work, you admit to a colleague that you're desperate for a lead role. In meetings, they frame your eagerness as great team spirit, while steering prime tasks toward themselves. When review season comes, your manager mentions your passion, then offers you more responsibility without the title, because the room knows you'll accept it just to stay close to the prize. In friendships, the pattern repeats. You reveal that you cannot stand being left out. Plans begin to move inside chats. Not because your friends are evil, but because human nature roots power through knowledge of desire. The one who speaks nakedly becomes predictable. The one who listens becomes the architect of the scene. Now the moral cover versus material reality. Culture sells you scripts. Be vulnerable and you'll be protected. It sounds noble, but incentives are the quieter writers of behavior. People hedge, they test, they exploit, sometimes softly, sometimes openly, when the material payoff outweighs the moral story. Consider a promotion cycle. The moral script says, tell your manager your deepest ambitions. Transparency builds trust. Material reality says, your manager has a budget and a scoreboard. If you confess that a title is your identity, the cheapest way to keep you is praise without pay. A new email signature costs less than a raise. Words become a substitute for advancement because your confession revealed that symbols can satisfy you. At a store, the clerk asks, is price a concern? You pour out your budget anxieties, hoping for care. Material reality notes your threshold and offers the smallest concession that keeps you from walking away. Your story was heard. The margin was protected. Romance sells the same fairy tale. Open up and they'll cherish you. Meanwhile, online attention is a market. If you reveal that your affection spikes with reassurance, reassurance becomes the bait. Sweet words arrive exactly when you're about to pull back, then dry up once you're secure. It isn't always malicious, it's simply efficient. People conserve effort where no consequence threatens loss. Across middle-class life, systems listen for confession to set terms. The slogan is moral, the dashboard is material. When they split, the dashboard wins. Now, love, loyalty, and interest. You were told loyalty follows sentiment. In practice, loyalty follows advantage. Not because hearts are fake, but because stability is built where interests are served. People love what keeps their position safe, profitable, or admired. A manager loves a reliable performer because the team's numbers shield her from scrutiny. If the numbers drop, affection cools. A brand loves its customers while demand is high. When demand shifts, the brand evolves. A partner loves your kindness until kindness removes all consequences. Then boredom, not betrayal, does damage. Sentiment floats on a sea of incentives. Notice your own behavior. You are the warmest to friends who respect your time. You feel devotion to routines that pay you back. The gym that actually improved your health. The habit that gave you promotions. The morning that saved your sanity. Your loyalty follows advantage too. Here is the freeing part. You do not have to become hard or paranoid. You have to become strategic. Confession is not connection. Connection is a shared interest, fortified by boundaries, proof, and time. Tell the truth, but tell it in stages that test alignment. Reveal what you want after you have built alternatives. Expose the heart where the other person has demonstrated costs for violating it. Practical moves. In dating, trade information like equals. Keep your schedule full so attention cannot be used as a leash. Name standards in behavior, not in begging. I see you when actions match words. At work, state goals without offering pressure points. I'm aiming for the lead. Here's the value I deliver and the metrics I own. Track promises, reward consistency, make exit options real before you need them. When someone fishes for confession, ask, what do they gain by knowing this? If the answer is leverage, redirect to facts. I prefer clear timelines. Let's write it down. These are walls that hold the roof. They are not walls against love. They are the architecture where love can live. If you choose to share deeply, do it as deliberate exchange, not a plea. Trade secrets like treaties, defined, reciprocal, enforceable. Build the record of mutual repairs apology followed by changed behavior, lapse followed by restored trust. Time is the only notary that matters. Sentences are cheap, patterns are expensive. Buy loyalty with predictable value, and you will see who stays when storms remove the decorations. Decline the fairy tale that exposure equals safety. You are not a confessional booth for other people's strategy. You are a state with borders, resources, and law. Speak plainly, share selectively, place consequence behind your standards. Let interest carry the weight that sentiment promises and rarely holds. Guard your heart with structure and give it with intention. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. You try to look calm, you say less. You arrange your face into neutrality, but the shadow speaks first. Neediness is a signal fire. Even when your mouth is closed, smoke lifts from your micro-behaviours. Eyes hold too long on status. Shoulders lean toward approval. Breath shortens near power. An unhealed wound does not whisper, it broadcasts. It colors your tone, times your replies, prices your choices, and bargains away your center. And because the message is primitive, keep me safe, keep me seen, don't leave me. Savvy people hear it clearly. Watch the leakage in forensic detail. Over pursuit. You chase the client or person who gives you crumbs, doubling texts, sweetening offers, volunteering favors no one asked for. The silent need is belonging, and your feet do the talking. Nervous laughter. You puncture tension with chuckles that don't match the moment, signaling you fear rejection more than you value truth. Rapid concessions. You fold early in negotiations, cutting your own ask before anyone pushes back. You're pleading for harmony. Instant replies. You answer within seconds because your nervous system believes delay equals loss. Price insensitivity. You pay extra for speed, for brand names, for proximity to influence. It looks like taste, but it reads like hunger for status. Measure your voice. Does it rise at the end of your statements? That upward lilt is a plea for permission. Track posture in rooms. Do you shrink when questioned or overexpand when unseen? Both are the shadows asking to be fed. Scan your calendar. A week stuffed with emergencies you didn't create often hides a need to feel indispensable. Even silence carries messages. The stumble to fill a pause tells the room you fear the void where their judgment might live. Micro-behaviours are tiny, but they compound into a public profile, who you are under pressure. Now, the mechanism, supply, and punish. Skilled players learn your signal fire the way sailors learn winds. Step 1 is the dopamine advance. They supply your needs, praise, access, intimacy, a scarce invitation, a sudden discount. Your nervous system lights up. You feel chosen, secure, superior, or avenged. Step 2 is the shadow contract. Maintain access by performing. It can be subtle, reply faster, give more, laugh at what isn't funny, accept terms that shrink you. Step 3 is the threat of withdrawal. They imply the praise could stop, the access could close, the intimacy could cool. You bend, not because you lack strength, but because an old wound is steering. See it in modern life. A manager announces your work publicly, then privately tackles a request outside your role. You accept to keep the light on, and your weekend disappears. A date floods you with affection early, then turns cold unless you escalate investment. You buy dinners, drive hours, rewrite your schedule to protect the supply. An influencer frames urgency with last chance, and you click not for value, but for the feeling of not being left behind. In each case, the playbook is the same. Satisfy the wound, hint at loss, watch you move. Do not hate the players. Bring the contract into daylight and renegotiate under your own name. Begin with a quiet audit. Sit alone, breathe low, and write without ornament. List your top 3 cravings. Be precise, not poetic. Is it status being seen as superior or special? Validation being told you're enough? Security never being abandoned or threatened? Revenge balancing old scales through new victories? Name them like chemicals in a lab. Vague needs manipulate you. Named needs can be contained. Next, map the arenas where each craving leaks. Work. Do you overpromise for applause, then drown in delivery? Romance. Do you text chase reassurance, and then resent the person you turned into a savior? Money. Do you pay premiums for badges of belonging and call it quality? Friendship. Do you become the fixer so you can't be left? Digital life. Do you perform outrage for engagement or confession for sympathy? For each arena, list the specific behaviors, exact wording, timing, body cues, purchases. Evidence ends denial. Set rules that bind you when hunger spikes. Rule 1. Never negotiate during emotional hunger. If your heart pounds and your chest tightens, you do not decide, you delay. Put the phone face down. Close the laptop. Walk around the block. Rule 2. Slow the reply by default. Let the first wave pass so cognition can return to the throne. Rule 3. Pre-price your boundaries. Before the meeting, write the lowest number you'll accept, the latest hour you'll stay, the 3 concessions you will not make. Rule 4. Define your exit before you enter. Exactly what breach ends the conversation, the project, or the romance. Rule 5. Schedule recovery time on your calendar to metabolize stimulation before it turns into compulsion. Expect resistance from the old circuitry. The shadow is not evil, it is primitive. It believes you must beg or perform to stay safe. Thank it for its service, then take the wheel back with evidence. Track small wins. The time you declined, scope creeped, and the world did not end. The date you let a slow reply sit, and your dignity remained. The purchase you skipped, and nothing essential vanished. Record them. Each act of containment builds a new reputation inside you. You can hold the line without losing love or livelihood. Next, practice controlled exposure. Enter rooms that once triggered your over-pursuit, but enter with rules on paper. Speak once, then pause long enough to feel the urge to fill space rise and fall. Make one clear ask, then let the silence do its work. In negotiation, state your number and wait a full 10 seconds before any adjustment. In romance, send messages when you are calm, not when you crave. In money, Create a 24-hour buffer between desire and transaction. You are not repressing the need, you are retraining it to serve you. Over time, the leak slows. Silence turns from threat into instrument. Attention becomes a tool, not a drug. People who used to tug your strings find no knots to pull. Offers you once chased begin to turn toward you, because steadiness is rare and magnetic. The energy that once broadcasts hunger becomes signal strength. You grow legible to those who value boundaries, and illegible to those who prey on thirst. Fate loosens. Choice enters. The unconscious becomes conscious, and what was compulsion becomes strategy. Need less, see more. Choose clean. When others can read your hunger, they price it. You walk into the room with bright eyes and a clear ask. You think clarity will speed the deal. Instead, every face measures you. Desire flashes like a signal flare. Now the room has a calculator. The employer who seemed eager suddenly needs more time for alignment. The supplier who promised old client rates discovers new compliance costs. The partner who was all in last week becomes strangely philosophical about timing. Nothing supernatural is happening. You simply made yourself predictable. When your direction is known, others can plant roadblocks on the path and sell you the detour. Predictability becomes a toll road. You will see it in tiny delays that feel polite but are priced. A meeting gets bumped to next week, and that week multiplies its value because you need compounds. A small change request becomes a scope review, and the review becomes a subtle auction. You reveal urgency to the landlord, and the rent grows legs. You show excitement to a recruiter, and the offer loses a limb. People are not always cruel, they are simply responsive to incentives. You showed them the switch that dims or brightens you. Smart actors charge rent on switches they control. Employers learn it fast. If you broadcast that you must have this title, they will stretch interviews and test your patience to map its limits. They will check what you will swallow for that word on a business card. Suppliers smell it in your timeline. If the campaign must launch by Friday, Friday becomes a tax bracket. Partners sense it in your eyes. If you need this to work, they will explore what work can be redefined to mean and how the definition benefits them. You can call it unfair, but the market calls it price discovery. Your desire is the bidding paddle you raised too soon. Then the spiral begins. Publicly, you act calm. You say, "All good, take your time." Privately, you send a late-night message to check in and see if you need anything from me. A day passes. Then you add a sweetener you said you would never add. Maybe you waive a fee. Maybe you accept an extra clause. Maybe you agree to silence on numbers because we just need momentum. Now you have fed the lever with your own dignity. The response arrives. Almost there, just one more thing. You nod while your stomach drops. You have started paying with pieces of yourself. Reputational slippage follows. The watcher class people who never speak. Only log takes notes. They remember how boldly you stated your terms and how fast you walked them back. Now every future table you sit at carries that whisper. You blink under pressure. It is not that you gave an inch. Negotiation always includes movement. It is that you moved impulsively, and your movement was driven by the fear of losing the object, not by a plan to improve the trade. When your concessions do not buy leverage, they buy labels. The label they pin on you is reactive. The emotional math cuts deepest. You wake up angry at the very thing you wanted. You resent the employer, the supplier, the partner, but mostly you resent yourself for performing a need on cue. You replay their phrases, the soft delays, the polite smothering, and you tell yourself a story about villains. Yet beneath the fury is panic. Who are you without this outcome? That question is the heart of collapse. When one goal becomes your mirror, you hand others the power to shatter you by simply withholding a reflection. Identity fragments when it is outsourced to any gate. Watch the deadly rewrite in slow motion. First, your pursuit is framed as admirable ambition. People clap at your certainty. Then, once they find the switch, they tilt the frame. He really needs this. She's pushing hard, maybe too hard. The same behavior now reads as grasping. Your careful follow-ups are desperate. Your persistence becomes pressure. They do not have to lie. They only have to adjust the lighting. To the crowd, you are no longer a contender negotiating terms. You are a character in their show, a lesson in wanting too much. They turn your sprint into spectacle. This rewrite spreads because it is easy content. Screens reward drama, and neediness is a viral angle. Rivals will help the algorithm. They will leak stories of your intensity and call it concern. They will share your texts out of context and say they are transparent. Your face appears in threads that you did not start. Now, each move you make is interpreted through the lens they supplied. If you hold firm, it is stubbornness. If you flex, it is flailing. The only way to win a rigged narrative is to stop giving it feed. Opacity is not silence. Opacity is strategy. Reclaiming opacity starts with changing what you declare. You do not announce the hill you will die on. You prepare 3 acceptable hills and let others guess. You separate your private mission from your public milestones. You ask for less while setting the stage for more. When you do reveal a desire, you reveal it with pre-priced alternatives. Here are 3 timelines that work. Here are 2 structures that clear. Here is one I would prefer. Options steal oxygen from their leverage. You are still clear but never singular. The switch they think they found powers only one of your lights. Next, you slow the bargaining tempo. Nobody raises rent on a room you do not rush to enter. You replace apologetic check-ins with structured cadence. We revisit Thursday at 3. If not resolved, we move to the next offer on Friday. Your words become standard operating procedures, not emotions in a chat. You let gaps breathe. You allow silence to do a portion of the work that pleading used to do. When you do concede, you trade it for something written, visible, and banked. One concession, one capture. Your movement writes a record that helps your reputation, not hurts it. Finally, you rebuild the mirror. You regain self-respect by making outputs, not by chasing outcomes. You publish the report, even if the deal stalls. You ship the product, even if the partner hesitates. You train, even when the tournament date slides. Momentum that you own restores the spine that warps under borrowed timelines. You become harder to price because you are harder to pause. The market respects what it cannot delay. You are no longer asking to be let in. You are opening doors elsewhere and letting the echo travel back to the room that tried to trap you. None of this is cruelty. It is discipline. You are not punishing the world for testing your wants. You are removing the handles they used to steer you. You stop performing hunger. You stop broadcasting. You speak lightly of goals and heavily of standards. The switch returns to your hand, and with it, the calm that lets you decide, not this way. The costs become visible, and once you see them, you stop paying in self-respect. You turn from spectacle to strategist. You are no longer predictable. You are priced by no one. Be unreadable, be steady, be your own switch. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. You thought it was love. You believed fairness would balance the scale and merit would carry you forward. But the room was built on leverage, and timing pulled the chair away. Your openness, your unfiltered heart, your clear calendar, your predictable yes was converted into someone else's advantage. They didn't need to trick you. They only needed you to speak first, to show your hand while they held theirs close. What you called romance, fairness, or merit was often leverage and timing in costume. Interest first, sentiment second, make it law. Assume interest until sustained sacrifice proves otherwise. Not a bouquet once, but presence through a storm. Not compliments under a spotlight, but costs paid when no one is watching. Let time test their words and pressure test their promises. Track the flow of effort and risk. Who pays in silence? Who shows up when it rains? Who turns warm phrases into measurable help? Treat early flattery like a sample, not a contract. Treat "I care" as a claim that must be audited. This is not paranoia, it is sobriety. You are not bitter, you are braced. You stop confusing warmth with warranty. You stop renting your focus to the loudest voice. You stop treating attention like proof. In a city of angels, naivete is an unguarded wallet. Keep your terms tighter than your feelings. When someone rushes intimacy, slow the tempo. When someone asks for a discount, ask for collateral. When someone promises the moon, ask for a calendar. Love is a verb that pays costs. Fairness is a ledger you can read. So you move from exposure to design. Replace confession with structure. Build a life that reveals nothing and tests everything. Your calendar becomes a filter, not a diary. Your rules slow down access and speed up truth. Stage small before you stage big. Short meetings before long. Dinners, small stakes before high stakes. Delay disclosures until consistent conduct compels them. In dating, coffee before travel, public before private, daylight before midnight. In business, trial before retainer, limited scope before full scope, written terms before enthusiasm. You also create dead ends for gossip and clear lanes for integrity. Document to remember, not to attack. Separate identity from transaction. You are not your offer, your answer, or your silence. Adopt pacing as policy. If someone rushes the rhythm, that is data. If someone sulks at boundaries, that is data. Do not argue with data. Adjust the channel, less access, shorter windows, higher proof. Testing does not cheapen connection, it dignifies it. Two bridges can look the same in sunlight, only stress reveals which welds hold. Now the new premise: you do not hide because you are fearful, you hide because you are building. Virtue requires control of information. You are not a mystery to seem interesting, you are a vault to stay effective. The seed goes underground, not from shame, but to take root. The forge stays closed, not from contempt, but to keep heat. Silence is not punishment, it is pressure. Keep your plans quiet so options stay open, timing stays yours, and rivals waste guesses in the dark. Share by layers, not floods. Give need to know, not want to know. Privacy is not the absence of love, it is the architecture of power. Lovers who last keep a circle inside the circle, where loyalty breathes and drama cannot crowd the air. Founders who scale keep narratives tight, numbers tighter, and the mission tightest. You can be generous and still be guarded. You can be kind and still be calculating. You can give mercy and still keep leverage. Mercy without leverage becomes martyrdom. Leverage without mercy becomes tyranny. Hold both, and you become steady, warm to people, hard to pressure. Move with dignified quiet, not secrecy that rots, discipline that cures. Look like still water, underneath. Set the current. Speak in simple words. Keep surgical timing. Let the impatient reveal their tells, then choose the price of your yes. In meetings, ask the question that makes costs visible. In romance, ask for actions that make care measurable. In friendships, place boundaries that separate affection from access. If someone insists love means unlimited access, they want leverage, not love. Keep your standard and watch who stays. Modern life rewards those who understand optics, yet obey reality. Post artifacts, not identity. Let mystery outlast the news cycle. Let your work speak in quarters, not bursts. Shipped product, delivered service, improved process, a body trained into proof. Build SOPs for your attention like companies build SOPs for quality. Morning for input, afternoon for output, night for strategy. Meetings with agendas, days with themes, money with categories, attention with locks and keys. Track your eyes like inventory, because it is. You are not punishing the past, you are designing the future. The old story took you to the stage. The new story makes you the architect. Love becomes alignment, fairness becomes a contract, merit becomes compounding. If someone loves you, they invest, not merely emote. If a deal is fair, both sides can sign with eyes open and power intact. If your talent has merit, it shows as repeatable value, not one lucky night of applause. Let time multiply your dignity. Let structure keep you honest. Let silence guard your momentum. When you open the door, it will be by choice, at your time, on your terms. Those who played you for timing will meet you on your timeline. Those who want your openness as material will face your structure as a mirror. And you no longer ashamed of your guard will sit in the quiet throne you built, where love has standards and leverage has limits. Assume interest, design the test, protect the build. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. You carry a mask and a mirror. The world reads the mask. Your fate answers to whatever slips through the mirror. Meeting your shadow is not confession, it is design. You will not become a closed vault. You will become frosted glass. Light passes, shapes move, but no one can measure your interior. Opacity by design, signal by strength. Start with your speech. Broad virtues, narrow facts. You talk in values, quality, reliability, fairness, because they are true and durable. You do not announce exact suppliers, price ceilings, or romantic endgames, because specifics give strangers leverage. When a buyer asks, "What number closes this?" you answer, "I pay for reliability, not surprises." When someone you're dating demands the final label, you say, "I move at the speed of honesty, not pressure." Notice the tone, calm, instructive, principled. Trust rises while details stay hidden. Then see decoy preferences. They must be harmless, plausible, and a little interesting. I like weekly summaries in one page. I prefer daylight meetings. I'm partial to old books over podcasts. Each is true enough to wear, yet none exposes your deep aim. Decoys drain curiosity the way a lightning rod drains a storm. Energy seeks the nearest spike. Rooms start discussing the one-page format or the midday slot, while your real objective remains unspoken and undisturbed. Control the game board through process, not speeches. First rule: carry option sets. 3 viable paths at all times. If a supplier stalls, you have path B and C warming on the bench. If a date wobbles, you have alternative timelines that respect your mission-focused solitude, a slower pace, or a different connection. Opaque players are never cornered because they live in branches, not lines. Even your calendar should reflect this. Parallel tracks, staggered checkpoints, reversible commitments. The signal is competence without confession. Second rule: probe without payment. Ask for proposals, demos, or small proofs before you disclose needs. Show me how your system handles a spike week. Send 3 clips graded in your style. Let's try a 3-week sprint with a fixed deliverable. The tone is managerial, not suspicious. You are not interrogating a person, you are testing a process. Invert the interview. They reveal first. Their response gives you the map: competence, reliability, pressure points, while your aim stays inside the frost. In negotiation, time is the oldest oracle. Use silence windows. When an offer lands: salary figure, vendor, quote, emotional bid, let it sit. The untrained rush to fill the air. Trained silence pulls secrets to the surface. count to 5, then breathe. People defend their number, sweeten their terms, or confess the hidden constraint. The same in romance. When someone throws heat, let the moment cool before you name it. It is not game playing, it is information gathering. Silence raises the waterline of what they reveal. Tie the price of access to earned milestones. Deeper disclosure is not free, it is contractual. We open the codebase after the pilot succeeds. I share long-term plans after 6 months of consistent delivery. I talk about family once we have demonstrated care under stress. Performance, time, and shared risk are toll gates on the road to your interior. You are not withholding, you are aligning incentives with caution. Those who intend to exploit you will balk at the toll. Those who intend to build with you nod and continue. Reputation becomes armor when it is consistent in decency and inconsistent in detail. Be known as fair, timely, and clean with commitments. Deliver what you promise. Respond when you say, pay on the date. But let your ultimate aims remain unreadable. Colleagues should say, she's solid and principled, while admitting they cannot predict your next major move. This keeps allies at your side and rivals in the fog. Decency magnetizes support. Opacity denies targeting data. Penalties make the armor credible. You do not deliver speeches about boundaries, you enforce them. A missed milestone triggers reduced scope on the next sprint. Chronic lateness receives calendar distance, not drama. A disrespectful comment earns polite, permanent removal from access. Penalties are quiet, proportional, and swift. People learn that your kindness is not softness, it is policy. Cost attaches to disrespect, so respect becomes the cheapest option. Personal discipline closes the system. Your leaks are not just technical, they are hungry. The shadow loves to blurt, to chase, to over-explain. Starve it with pre-commitments. Response delays. Important decisions wait 24 hours unless there is fire. Bid caps. You will not pay above a defined limit, even when excitement surges. Weekly solitude. One protected block where no one asks and nothing answers. Each rule manufactures oxygen between stimulus and response. You begin to recognize the old impulse arriving before the truth. Run a monthly signal audit. Open your texts, emails, and meeting notes and read them like an opponent. What could a rival infer about your cash flow, your heart, your timing? Which phrases gave away urgency? Where did flattery steer you? Redact future versions. Replace "I really need this by Friday" with "Delivery by Friday maintains our standard." Replace "I'm obsessed with this feature" with "The outcome is stability under load." Tidy your digital house. Calendar titles that reveal intentions become neutral and boring. Notes and file names lose melodrama and gain clarity. Your trail becomes clean and unreadable. Underneath all of this beats a psychological truth. Your shadow longs to be seen, and it leaks by performing transparency. You overshare to buy closeness, to hurry trust, to relieve anxiety. When you design opacity, you are not becoming cold. You are giving your shadow something better than attention. You are giving it leadership. You name the craving, hold its hand, and put it to work. We will be known for reliability. We will be slow to promise and quick to deliver. We will reveal when the structure can hold it. The shadow calms because it has a job, a boundary, and a throne it does not run. Modern life rewards the loud and punishes the transparent. You will do the opposite. You will speak softly and measure what you disclose. You will let your work leave tracks while your intentions leave mist. Rooms will find you readable in character, yet unreadable in plan. People will call you trustworthy because you never sell certainty you don't possess. They will call you formidable because your next move remains yours. Design the mask. Strengthen the signal. Let the mirror face you first. And when you decide to turn it outward, do so by choice, not by leak. Calm, opacity, strong signal. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. You move like dawn after a night of thunder. No rush, no noise. The room studies you and learns nothing, and that is your safety. Your wants are quiet, so your results arrive without resistance. You don't chase, you calibrate. You don't confess, you construct. The world rewards the one who chooses peace over performance and makes serenity a tactic instead of a mood. The calm of unreadability begins with tempo. You answer messages on your time, not on demand. 10 minutes here, an hour there, sometimes tomorrow, never cruel, just sovereign. People learn that your silence is not absence, it is governance. You keep multiple options alive. The second supplier, the backup venue, the extra draft waiting in a folder. When the first door jams, you don't get dramatic, you turn the handle on the next. Small daily wins stack quietly. A clean ledger, a scheduled workout, a prepared meeting agenda, a 5-minute sweep of your inbox. Warm light after storm. No declarations, just direction. Unreadable does not mean cold. You stay human, you simply stop broadcasting your pulse. At lunch, you ask more than you tell. In a meeting, you speak last, because the last words set the frame. On social media, you post after the work is done, not during the making. You guard your calendar like a city gate. You let time bring you information. You never trade dignity to buy speed. This is not shyness. It is strategy. The less people know of your exact aim, the less they can drag you into their drama. Your restraint becomes attractive because it feels like shelter. People trust the hand that doesn't tremble. Fortuna favors the prepared because luck is a battlefield of misreads. When others cannot plot your line, they prepare for the wrong fight. You study quietly. The contracts, the terms, the temperature of the room. You walk in with 3 plans and 5 thresholds. If the supplier delays, you pivot to inventory already staged. If the date cancels, you invest the evening in your skill stack instead of spiraling. You prep your yes and your no before the moment, so the decision burns no fuel you need for execution. Chance tilts toward the one who wastes nothing, and you waste nothing. To them it looks like luck. To you it feels like rhythm. Opacity is ethical when it shields the mission and the people who ride with you. You don't weaponize secrets. You protect momentum. Your team knows the next step. Outsiders do not know the staircase. You conserve surprise the way a general guards supply lines. The result is a quiet blessing. Fewer arguments, fewer apologies, fewer rescues. With fewer fires, you have more light to build with. And when praise arrives, you let it pass through you like wind through a banner seen, then gone so the work stays heavier than your ego. So you make a simple oath, the kind that fits in a pocket and outlives noise. You swear to keep your wants quiet, your work steady, your exits open. You swear to answer after that you think, to decide after you look twice, to move only when the move cannot be reversed by gossip or panic. You swear to speak in facts, not forecasts, and to show your aim only when the arrow is already flying. No flourish, daily discipline. Like water, like breath, you step back into the world untensed. The storm still rumbles somewhere behind you, but inside there is a throne no one can knock over because no one else can see it. Your life gets lighter as your appetite learns discipline. Your outcomes get louder as your process learns silence. Peace is not the absence of conflict. It is command of self, of tempo, of information. And that, finally, is luck you can choose. Quiet wants, loud results.